Using Query Store with Azure SQL Managed Identity is a powerful way to optimize and monitor the performance of your database queries. This guide will walk you through the process step by step. First, you need to enable Query Store on your Azure SQL database. This can be done by navigating to the Azure portal, selecting your database, and clicking on the Query Store option under the Intelligent Performance section. You can then choose to enable Query Store and set the data retention period and the capture mode. Next, you need to configure the managed identity for your Azure SQL database. Managed identity allows your database to authenticate to other Azure services without having to use credentials. To set up managed identity, navigate to the Azure portal, select your database, and click on the Identity option under the Settings section. Then, toggle the status to On and click Save. After enabling Managed Identity, you need to grant the necessary permissions to your database to access the Query Store. This can be done by navigating to the Access Control option under the Settings section and adding the managed identity to the list of allowed identities. Now, you can start using Query Store to monitor and optimize your database queries. Query Store provides a range of metrics and insights, including query execution plans, wait statistics, and resource utilization. You can use these metrics to identify performance bottlenecks and optimize your queries for better performance. To access the Query Store metrics, you can use the Azure portal or transact SQL queries. The SYS query _store _runtime _stats system view provides a range of metrics, including average execution time, CPU time, and memory usage. You can use these metrics to identify queries that are consuming excessive resources and optimize them for better performance. Best practices for using Query Store with managed identity include monitoring query performance regularly, optimizing queries for better performance, and adjusting the data retention period and capture mode as needed. Additionally, you should ensure that the managed identity has the necessary permissions to access the Query Store, and that the database is configured to use the managed identity. In conclusion, using Query Store with Azure SQL Managed Identity is a powerful way to optimize and monitor the performance of your database queries. By following the steps outlined in this guide, you can enable Query Store, configure Managed Identity, and start using Query Store to monitor and optimize your database queries. Remember to follow best practices and ensure that the managed identity has the necessary permissions to access the Query Store.